Hello there, and are you ready to learn about all things EFT, the emotional freedom techniques? I hope you are, because I think you're going to be very surprised just how effective this is going to be in your life. So EFT stands for the Emotional Freedom Techniques, and it's frequently called tapping because what we do is we're tapping on the meridian points of our face and our upper body while we're focusing on problems, and I'll explain how this all works in the next video. Basically in this video what you're going to be learning is when it all started, and I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail because I want to keep this short and sweet. You're going to learn about when it started and what the basic premise behind EFT tapping is all about, how it works, and also the sort of problems it works with. So they're the three things we're going to learn in this video. So first of all, it started around about 30 years ago in the 80s, and it's a form of energy medicine based on ancient Chinese traditional medicine, which works with the acupuncture points on the body, the meridian points on our body. They're all through our body, and what these meridian points are, they're like little train stations, if you like, and sometimes if they get blockages in them, they show up in us as emotional or physical pain or discomfort. And so what tapping does is, by tapping on these points as we focus on what's bothering us, it somehow gets the energy flowing back in through our body. So it's been around since about the 1980s, and I suppose the concept was started by a guy called Roger Callahan, and it's been finely tuned and developed over the last 30 years until now. You know, it really is gaining popularity because a lot of illnesses that go into the too hard basket, and people sort of, they're told that it must be psychological, or they can't you know, there's no logical reason. The outcome isn't looking really great in terms of, oh, I think I'm going to be stuck with this disease forever or this illness forever or whatever. A lot of people who come to me have been through a lot of other traditional, more traditional ways of getting rid of the sort of, I'm thinking about oh, what's it called? Chronic fatigue syndrome. Forgive me. Now I have to tap on myself even though I'm not perfect. Yes, chronic fatigue syndrome and those sort of things are kind of bothersome because they don't really fit into a character, and they're kind of like a modern disease. And EFT is a great way to dislodge them. And I know many, many people now who have got over an illness like that. Rather than looking at the prospect of, oh my gosh, this is as good as I'm going to get, I'm going to have this forever, or it's going to take me 10 years to get better. You know, we give a lot of power away. We have no idea how powerful we are as self-healing bodies. And so EFT is a great way to sort of pick up the reins and say, right, well, you know, I'm not buying into that prognosis, or I'm not buying into that I have to have anxiety for the rest of my life. This is just how I am because it's how mum was or how dad was or whatever. You know, all of that gets thrown out the door when you're working with the energy of the body. You really have a lot more power than you know. So how do we do it? We tap on the points, and I'll be showing you the points in the next video. But in this video, as I said, I'm going to teach you, just give you a brief background of EFT, which I have done, what it's based on, which is ancient Chinese medicine. And remember when acupuncture first came out to the West, everyone was very dubious about it, and it's only now that, you know, it's just accepted. You know, you go and get needles stuck in your meridian points, and, you know, it's accepted. It's not considered woo-woo anymore. And I'm hoping that one day, and it certainly is getting closer, that people will look at these new energy techniques like tapping and feel the same about them. It's like a non-invasive form of acupuncture. We are stimulating our meridian points, and through stimulation of these meridian points, as I said, it gets the energy, the qi flowing through you again, so that those things that have been stuck in your system, you know how sometimes you've got a memory, it might have happened 30 years ago, but it still pushes your buttons. So it's a way to release all of that sort of thing. Now, the third thing we were going to learn in this video is what it's good for. What can you use EFT on? And mostly practitioners say, well, you can use it on anything, and I pretty much believe that. But the main issues of the clients that I see, which are primarily women, although I do see men too, I'm not going to say no to helping anyone, but It would be anxiety. It would be overwhelm. It'll be the feeling that they're not good enough. That's a really big one, and it really runs people's lives when you've got that feeling running the show, underlying like a program all the time. So EFT is great for releasing that. It's really good for post-traumatic stress disorder, and they've done some wonderful work in the States, some case studies about guys who have been just not the same after they've returned from war. They've done a lot of studies with the war veterans, and they've had really concentrated EFT sessions with them over a couple of weeks, and the results are astounding and exciting, really, really exciting. But of course, post-traumatic stress disorder just doesn't belong to war vets. It can belong to anybody who's been through a trauma, and that traumatic memory still will trigger those feelings as though they're reliving it. And so EFT is a great way to alleviate you can still think of the memory, but you don't have the emotional angst in your body when you think of it. It's just like you're watching a movie from afar, something that happened a long, long time ago, but it doesn't create the same havoc in your system. So it's great for post-traumatic stress disorder, really good for panic attacks, and excellent for phobias. Now, they're all sort of bigger things, but it's also great for the smaller things, how to handle it when people are pushing your buttons. It's great to accept. EFT is all about accepting that you have a problem or have an issue, not a problem, but have an issue or a challenge, and it's actually sitting with it and saying, you know what, even though I have this happening in my life right now, I'm still a really good person. And it's absolutely owning where you're up to right now. When you can do that, and you can do it easily with EFT, and I'll be showing you how, as I said, in the next couple of videos. When you really own it and you sit with it and you say, this is where I'm up to. It might not be where I want to be up to in my life, but you know what? This is where I'm up to. And it's only then that you can work from that as a launching pad to get you off to a place that you want to be, in a more happy, more peaceful existence. Because what we do is we shove it down, and we don't listen to our feelings. It's, I don't want to think about that now. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get busy. I'm going to eat. I'm going to drink. I'm going to do whatever we do to cover up the pain. So EFT is a really safe and gentle way to actually acknowledge that you're still a beautiful person anyway, no matter you have this thing in your life, and then you free yourself from it. You release it. So I hope that's explained the basics of EFT. And in the next video, I'm going to show you exactly where to tap and what to say while you're tapping. Okay, we'll see you soon.